On October 14, 1993, Nelda Louise Hardwick tucked her 4 children into bed, wrote a note for her boyfriend, who was living with them at the time, saying that she was going to the store and will be back shortly, and then left their home in Lake Charles, Louisiana. The next morning, her boyfriend woke up and discovered the note, also discovering that Nelda had never made it home from the store. In fact, it isn't even known if she made it to the store at all. Nelda's boyfriend reported her missing, and the investigation soon began. According to her family and friends, Nelda was a very loving and devoted mother who never would have abandoned her children of her own free will. This made police believe that foul play was involved, and they have since classified Nelda's case as a homicide. Unfortunately, there wasn't much the police could do. Like I said, we don't even know if Nelda ever made it to the store. It's possible that she was abducted on her way there, in the parking lot, or on her way home. The investigation hit a dead end very quickly, and with no suspects and no clues or leads, it became a cold case. For the next part of this mystery, we're going to travel back to 1983 in Armistead, Louisiana. On March 30th, Faye Self left her baby daughter at her mother's house and met up with 3 friends at the Wagon Wheel Bar and Restaurant. Everything was normal until Faye said she had to go pick her baby up from her mother's house. She never arrived to pick up the baby, and her car was found the next day in the restaurant's parking lot with the doors and steering column locked. Her purse and keys were missing, but her shoes were in the back seat. Investigators ran into a dead end with this case as well, but that dead end eventually opened up again in 2006 when a man named Robert Charles Brown confessed to murdering Faye. He had previously confessed to 2 other murders. He said that he met Faye in the wagon wheel and went to her apartment, where he just so happened to be the maintenance worker for the entire complex. Apparently, he entered her apartment, covered her mouth with a chloroformed rag, and then went to find something to use in order to bind her. However, when he returned to the bed, Faye had already died. He proceeded to dump her body off of a bridge into the Red River. So, why did I bring these 2 separate cases up together? Well, I'll get to that shortly. First, we have to travel to May 8th, 1998, Hancock County, Indiana. A group of teenagers was driving down a particularly dark stretch of a highway when their car hit some kind of animal. At the time, they had thought it was a deer, and they left the scene without verifying or contacting the authorities. However, the animal was not a deer at all. At 10:40 a.m. the next day, a truck driver heading down the same road discovered the corpse of a woman laying face down in the grass on the side of the road. He reported his discovery to the police, and the teenagers came forward with their story. The authorities performed an autopsy on the corpse and found out just how serious the collision had been. 21 of her ribs were broken. Her cervical spine and right femur were both fractured, and she had deep lacerations in her right knee, left heel, scalp, and liver. When the investigators examined the contents of her stomach, they found she had eaten French fries, pickle slices, and a thick brown liquid. They also found cysts clustered on her oviducts, indicating that she had ingested a parasite, most likely as a result of some contaminated food. There were no drugs or alcohol found in her system, although a bottle of ephedrine pills, which are used to treat low blood pressure, were found in her back pocket. Jane Doe also had a C-section scar, and the examination revealed that she had given birth at least twice, if not more. She was later buried in a local cemetery. The investigators at the time hit a dead end with this case, but 20 years later that seemed to change. Hancock County Coroner Jim Falk decided to solve the Jane Doe case once and for all. After doing his research and digging around for missing persons, he eventually showed pictures of the Jane Doe to Nelda Hardwick's family. They were apparently shocked by the resemblance she bore to Nelda. Her missing teeth, unpierced ears, and birthing scar all matched with Nelda's own. Her family and Jim Falk all strongly suspected that Jane Doe and Nelda Hardwick were one and the same. As a result of this, Jim petitioned the local court to have Jane Doe's body exhumed and further examined. Nelda's niece had provided a DNA sample for the authorities to compare with Jane Doe, so everything seemed very promising. Permission was finally granted by the court to dig up Jane Doe's body, but there were 2 main issues. First, Hurricane Katrina had done significant damage in the area, making it difficult to locate the grave. Second, there weren't any official records stating where the grave was. Regardless, several volunteers came forward and began searching. Eventually, they found a grave that they suspected to be Jane Doe's. However, once they had removed the coffin, they found a man's body inside. This was devastating for the search effort at the time, and it's unclear if Jane Doe's grave has ever been found. Because of this, the investigation came to a halt. While it seemed likely that Jane Doe and Nelda Hardwick were the same person, some people believed that the unidentified body was actually Faye Self. Much like Nelda, Faye had several similar characteristics to the Jane Doe, including her dentures, a birthing scar, and gray eyes. Unfortunately, neither of these women were confirmed to be Jane Doe, and the case appeared to have gone cold again. Fast forward all the way to August of 2021. The Hancock Sheriff's Department contacted a forensic scientist about a method of advanced forensic genetic genealogy. It's unclear exactly how they managed to extract Jane Doe's DNA, but we know that they somehow did. From there, the investigators created a DNA profile of the woman and continued searching for answers. They were able to find a biological sister of Jane Doe in Cleveland who provided a DNA sample that was a perfect match. As it turns out, Jane Doe was neither Nelda or Faye. Her name was actually Doreen Tiedemann, who had gone hitchhiking across the United States in 1994 and was officially listed as missing in 1996. Unfortunately, there isn't much information about Doreen. We also don't know exactly what happened to her when she went missing. It's likely that she was abducted and later managed to escape, which tragically ended in the car accident. However, despite at least knowing who the Hancock County Jane Doe was, we still don't have the answers to many unnerving questions surrounding her case, such as, who is responsible for having made her disappear for so many years? Furthermore, we still don't know what happened to Nelda Hardwick either. She's still missing, and her family and friends have still never received any answers about her case. It's a chilling thought that these three women all suffered horrible fates and were only linked to each other because their cases were so shrouded in mystery.